Well, it only took 6 rounds of overtime to finally get a winner for our second map in the series. WADA 19-17. Oh my god, I thought that wasn't going to end at a point here, Jen. Honestly, like, it kept going and going. It was super fun to watch, but phew, like, I was tired watching that. How are the players faring right now?
And that's exactly what Ender brought up. Like, you need to stay calm in those overtime situations. Like, that went so long, we were going to see Vance turn 40 again. Like, it's just, like, so crazy.
He'd be retiring out here.
Yeah, and WADA take it. And, you know, there were some chokes, some fumbles, but they're a team that come off to me as one that blossoms late, like 5 years late.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you guys talking? Because my old age, I had to take a nap. I had to take a nap because that game took so long. But no, honestly, it did have a lot of back and forth. But I have to be honest, looking at this game, I feel that this game should have been like a 13-7 already for WADA in the first place. So when Doug was asking, how do you actually bounce back being FlyQuest? I think you still have a lot of confidence knowing that there were so many situations and scenarios that you were able to capitalize on so many of WADA's fumbles. I had them written down. It was like the fumble defuse, the fumble on the plant, the 3v1 against Lace on the pistol round, the 1v1 with the salvos when you had Power Pixelate play against Unstable, the 5 versus 3 fumble on round 15. Like, there was so many opportunities for them to close out such a strong half for WADA, and even a strong game, that it was actually here FlyQuest able to come back in these moments in lower numbers.
The way that you just had the receipts of all those
haters,
and it just kept going.
At that point, I was, I know, you know, but you had to. I mean, look at this. Look at the amount of first kills that they had. 25-11. I forgot, I'm not good at math like Ender, so I have to pull my TI calculator, but it was at least 30 rounds. There was still so many first bloods in favor of WADA that they couldn't convert at that moment. So FlyQuest had so many good hero plays.
And I think this WADA team, though, really revolved around leveraging that chamber. And we talked about the Lotus. What a perfect pick for exactly that for Starbound. I mean, this chamber has been picked every single map in Kickoff. And I thought it was huge to go to Lotus because there's so many options of sites to surprise FlyQuest with. Because first, that, you know, I'll be good cop here of I really like the good early pressure on Mound with the op on C defense, even investing down to 0, no armor. That's how much they relied on Starbound to really condition the enemy. And their ability to get picks, being able to move around the map. It wasn't just the one and done at the beginning. Like, they provided value until the end.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about Starbound at this point because they were doing the absolute boss thing for the team. Getting first blood, second bloods, these pushes. At first, like we were talking about this head-to-head between Starbound and a chamber and what this comp came out, especially with Lace out on a Tejo on what was the plan to try to push Starbound away. So we talked about the Starbound C-mount pushes, but then we also saw a lot of defaulting from the double initiator on that side just to make sure that you have the op down on a cooldown at least. But then you notice that at the time that they were also using the salvos at the same place, the fault lines at the same place. So Starbound was kind of like, I don't know, Tom Cruise and Day After Tomorrow, where they're just coming back for the next round and they're avoiding all that utility and getting first bloods on top of that. So Starbound definitely was popping off at that point and giving the most chances as possible here for WADA to really close things out. Well, it should have been a cleaner fashion, but thankfully 33? They did towards the end.
33% is crazy.
Crazy stuff. I mean, we had set up at like Bob for FlyQuest being like the big bad boss, the final boss of it all, but it really felt in this match like Starbound was that person. The DLC just dropped Starbound. I mean, when almost half of the first bloods for the team come from one individual player, or if there's a round still going on and Starbound's alive, there is the possibility that WADA is about to clutch it. It was just absolutely crazy. So love to see that little bit of revenge coming on out. I mean, Starbound absolutely popping off here up against FlyQuest Red, and yeah, now for the series, that's FlyQuest down 2 in the series after 6 rounds of overtime on their map pick, Jen. That's a little grim.
Yeah, it's a best of 5. Potentially could be ending this night pretty quick, even though that overtime lasted about 3 games worth. But I hope FlyQuest are able to bounce back. I just want to applaud really their resilience to turn around a lot of these. Like, I was laughing with Vans of like, oh, FlyQuest would get first blooded, second blooded. It's like, no, they almost play better in 3v5s because they would win a lot of those rounds in 3v5s. So like that experience comes in of them being able to stay calm, cool, and collected. But that's really got to be tilting to lose that in overtime, when that at times could have been turnable for them, even though we're off of miracles.
Especially when Lace was having like the pop-up game of the series so far. Like she was doing so good as well on the tail, just like Power Pixelate has in the first 2 maps that they were using that agent. So I gotta give praise to Power Pixelate at that point. There was also the question, the conversation with Doug and Ender went during that cast when they're like, hey, is it those moments where you kind of need Bob to pop off here to see FlyQuest kind of win? You kind of do, right? Because you look back into those scenarios where Bob was getting picked a little bit earlier on, and then they were still converting 3v5s, but then in the OT, Bob went glass cannon op, started owning things up, and then overall, you started to see more of a brawl that went back and forth in those moments in overtime. Whereas if you actually did have Bob activate at the very beginning with everybody else, that maybe could have been a story that was going to be in favor of FlyQuest in the first place. But that's also for WADA to make sure that they're able to keep that composure going into the rest of the series, that if they actually are able to open up with these first bloods, that they absolutely have to close them.
I mean, FlyQuest Red, after that map, after an overtime that goes on so long, if Bob definitely is cooking up for this next match, then that's going to be absolutely great for FlyQuest Red, of course. But when you see a map that was so close because of Lace, then do you need both of them to start popping off up against this Starbound who is now going crazy? Like, where does that math end, Jen?
I don't know. I felt like FlyQuest have just been a team. It's been a team effort. Like, yeah, Lace has had a couple of those clutch moments, and FlyQuest turning around those 3v5s tells me that this is a team that talked to each other and worked the round together. But we're going up to Split next, and this is where I look towards Bob to be that shining star back on the race again. They had 5 first kills, but also 8 first deaths. So you really are living and dying by the Bob, and I want to see the 40 kill Bob happen again. And if it doesn't, that's the end of the road for FlyQuest.
I mean, the fact that you're putting it simple is if we're not seeing 40 bomb, like 40 bomb. Oh, say that 5 times fast. That's crazy. But that's also just that's a lot of pressure on one person's shoulder. And I feel too for FlyQuest Red that there is even maps that Bob was popping off and they still lost. So this needs to be the team effort. Let's head over to the agent select, talk a little bit more about it, because there was a couple of rounds on that last map where they had some fantastic plays. I want to see them kind of rely on that as opposed to just, okay, clutching when we're down in numbers here. But agent select fans, we've gotten to see these teams decently recently. We do have tape on them. It's a question of whether things get swapped up here today in the grand finals.
Both teams have been quite dominant on this map already. We're talking about 13-2s and 13-1s for both WADA and FlyQuest. And FlyQuest has pulled out the breach on this map, and we saw the value of what Sonder was able to do. She was also kind of like an unsung hero, maybe not lighting up here on the scoreboard, but she was like at least 20 assists going in that previous map. So the value that she brings around the fault lines and the flashes to activate the rest of the retake was really good here for FlyQuest. So I want to see this continue forward, but there's no change for both of the sides, for both of the teams in terms of their agent compositions for this map. So we'll have to see now if they could actually stop Starbound.
Yeah, then how can you? Because Starbound dropped 21-4 on the last time they went to Split, and Joona's going away from the Clove and back to the Omen. And this was something that, speaking of unsung heroes, that was Joona for me in that last round, dropping over 20 assists on the Omen on Lotus. That's difficult to do, and the amount of delay that they created on defense, and I hope they can still do that on Split.
I mean, looking at this match, it's just, if Starbound's getting the first kill in these FlyQuest Red, it's going to be tough from. And last time they played Starbound, it wasn't the 11 first kills that they managed to get last map, but still 6. There's a lot of pressure there. It's time to see now, though, if FlyQuest Red can live up to that pressure, take down Split, and take us into a 4th map. We're in the grand finals, if this is going to be WADA in 3. Back over to your casters, Ender and Doug.
Thank you so much, Sierra. I think questions have to go back to what's the mental for FlyQuest going into this. How do you forget that you lost a 5-round lead in Lotus? How do you forget that you lost 5-6 rounds of OT? And then how do you forget the fact that if you want to win this out, Ender, you have to win 3 maps in a row?
Yeah, especially being a team that is so new, these pieces being put together, that know they've already lost a best of 3 to this team, now trailing two maps already, when they have the map disadvantage coming into it.
Yeah.
Seems like everything is sort of stacked up against this FlyQuest Red team.
Oftentimes, though, that's where silly things happen.
Sure.
So
We like it a little silly here.
I'm afraid we might. We do tend to end up in that position. So we'll see. WADA on the attacking side. We talked about Starbound a ton, and well, for good reason. Back on that chamber. I wonder how fast they're going to want to play this. How much of their focus, how much of their attention is going to be put around the middle of the map too. That's snappy. Yep. Dude, I saw
it's the same story.
I saw Starbound step into that, and I knew it was going to happen. Now Starbound has gotten 2 already.
Yeah, they're just a little bit better on this agent. You saw in the last map, 25 opening kills compared to 11. That's team-wide, but almost all of them are Starbound, and it starts off in very much the same fashion on Split.
Unreal. I mean, exactly how you want to start if you're WADA, and unfortunately, it's really hard to put the last 2 maps in the rearview mirror if that's how this is starting for FlyQuest. They got from Lace, though. Bringing things back a little bit. Arya and Joona are both weak, and they both fall almost instantly, but Stardown with 3 on the round. It's Sonder left in a 1v2 with a classic in hand. Time is short. Position given away. Starbound plays that perfectly. And there's just not enough time in Ace and IBOT Power Ace to start things off for WADA. But more importantly, the performance that Starbound continues to put on from one map to the next is outrageous.
It's unbelievable. We're sitting at a point right now where Starbound is just dominating the entire server.
Yeah.
And this is a series where, when you look at the last time these two teams faced off, Starbound was the only positive player, KD-wise, on their team when they won the series. And it's because Bob was putting up ridiculous numbers. But that series, Bob was the player. Now Starbound has completely usurped that title and has already started running away with it on what could be the final map.
There's so much hope going into the first map, and then plenty of reason to be excited in map 2. And then again, Starbound happens. So still plenty of map to play out here, though. If you're FlyQuest, any damage here, I mean, you're looking for any moral victory you can find.
Yeah, especially WADA did buy up. They actually went 5 guns in this round.
Oh, they did, yeah.
So it'll matter. The main thing I'm looking at is like, oh, could Starbound actually get a kill or 2? Could we have a round 3 chamber off? Because if that's the world we're living in, then we're looking at a potential runaway situation in these early rounds.
Couple of members from the defense over towards B.
Hold on, 40 seconds left. Sandra has stun. There's low HP bars. Okay.
But there's Power Pixel with a Bulldog.
I don't know how Lace is getting that kill, but all good. Don't know how Bob is getting 2 with the Sheriff. Just when it seems simple, once it seems solved, Bob changes the entire equation.
Astralis is left in a 1v1, 40 HP, unstable on the other side with the Sheriff in hand, the tap of the spike, waiting, baiting the swing. But Astralis has no idea, and Astralis has to be careful. 12 seconds left. This round is unstable. Weapon has been upgraded, but it wasn't even required.
Well, that's certainly a way to get the excitement back in the FlyQuest camp.
Yeah, I've got to mention what you called out, Ender. That was a full investment from WADA.
Yeah, there's no chance of a hero rifle this round. Starbound did not find the kills to get an op. No. And again, it comes down to, and we've seen this on all the maps, really, that WADA played. They stall out in their rounds a lot. And they stall and go for these 5-player hits into a site. It's not like they're stalling to like let someone lurk and open something up and rotate into them. We've seen a lot of that out of FlyQuest. But really, FlyQuest have sort of called these macro choices of WADA by creeping up on the extremities and then punishing with just good stall utility.
Enemy down.
Nice swing out from Unstable to clean up Power Pixel. Understand that Starbound is in a pretty bad position.
Cage triggered.
You don't really have the punch back like FlyQuest did in the previous
Hey,
round.
Doug,
With the sheriffs
look
and
at
what
mid
have you.
right now. Look at Kara. Kara's behind them in mid. I know we're killing
Right.
people in A main too, but like,
Right.
again, FlyQuest continue to punish the extremities of WADA. We saw it all throughout
Yeah.
the end of Lotus, right? And it worked really well for them. And again, they're doing it here because I think they're starting to realize how much WADA are grouping and how effective these flanks can end up being.
I mean, surely if you're WADA here, even just having that play out the way that it did in round 3 calls for an adjustment on how you're playing your attack inside.
100%.
30 seconds
Like,
left.
okay, well, do Starbound and Astralis have to just hold the extremities more? Do we need to go for more of our
Yeah.
own lurks? You know?
1-3-1s, yeah.
Yeah, like how much are FlyQuest sort of like pushing up immediately versus, you know, once they see all the players? Those are the questions they're going to be asking themselves and realize how big those gaps actually end up being. Because
Yeah.
it's worth pointing out, they're not playing, you know, a true Cypher, right?
Right,
Deadlock
right.
doesn't have great flank watch. The chamber is minimal. You're sort of expected to be your own turret, in a way, fighting lines, stopping people from pushing up on you.
I took care of it.
All right, back to guns for both sides.
Let's start this party.
Ult's starting to peak for WADA, but same goes for
Look at this
FlyQuest
fight,
here.
Doug. Stun ready to go into A main.
And they're still not adjusting how they're playing their attack. They're not 1-3-1ing. They're not leaving a 1-4. It's just all 5A.
Yeah, and you know, you're not necessarily hurt for hold on, more ultimates coming in. Oh my god! The humanity, Doug! The humanity!
A flawless round for FlyQuest as they get to 3, and we talked about it a ton. How would they bounce back? It looks like they've fully forgotten about maps 1 and maps 2.
Oh my word. Bob didn't even have to use the rocket. That's a tail ult. The stun, I mean, that is just destruction. And you're right, you know, WADA, they're 580, and, you know, usually you're not punished going for a 5-hit like that, because, oh, you don't have to worry about the flanks if you just party Zach.
Right.
The problem is they got stalled out so far in advance, there's nothing they can do.
Right, yeah. They literally had no option. They had no opportunity.
Some more orb maxing on Sonder there with a similar round pushing up into A main. I like it from FlyQuest, although Kara is weak. All the way in the backside of B with teammates trying to flood in, but they're blocked off by the wall.
Wait, you popped the ult on the other side of the wall. Kara's still trying to hold back sight. Arya doing their best and succeeding at getting the best of the controller. And now weapon has been upgraded. Right.
Throwing net.
That's a good net. That's a better shot out from the table though. Now the ult used. Miss without spike planted. Just a couple members left now. It's all into Arya. Has a rifle, triple swung, no shot.
It got a bit uncomfortable, I would say, for FlyQuest. They ended up having to commit 2 ultimates into that play. I'm really unsure what happened with Bob up in heaven. Because you're right, it looked like they were stalled out behind the wall. But still, FlyQuest, they win that eco round. And genuinely, because of Saunders or maxing, that's going to be online here too to try and fight back a bit against WADA. Now, WADA, they're going to have 4 ults coming up online. So like these next 2-3 rounds, we need WADA to put some numbers on the board, which is why I almost loved this decision from FlyQuest. A 3rd round in a row of an A main fight? I mean, who does this?
FlyQuest will try. And there is some presence here. Oh, we're talking half a second, man.
FlyQuest choosing not to commit off of this. They've left the B site completely open this time. Kara playing audio in mid. Those 3 players that pushed up are going to rotate back in, reach through mid. Unstable still over towards A, and this rocket's going to find no one on the site.
By a little bit of time, though, and by a little bit of space, are they all going to reflank mid?
Planted.
At least a few of them.
All right, it seems like they're thinking twice about it.
Yeah, they've got to make
Resources
noise up in
divided.
heaven to pull players away from B main. Otherwise, it's too obvious.
Astralis is watching it, though. Astralis is ready for it. With the rifle in hand, they've got a stun, too, and the op that they can play around, but everybody's tagged up. Now they've got the paranoia, and that's going to hit
They're all
literally
blind.
everybody. 3 members there, and they're all cooked! it's another disaster. Astralis flashed.
What?
Sonder was 2. Astralis wins the fight out. Joona's left in a 1v2. Excuse me, a 2v2 with Astralis in hand. Now it's Astralis in the 1v2. Lace wins that duel out. FlyQuest full steam ahead.
Yo, these are some of the funniest rounds I've ever seen, man. Like, I'm pretty sure Saunders full blinded, and as a result, sprints completely past the Deadlock ultimate. That still ends up dying. These rounds are just pure chaos, but it's because FlyQuest are choosing to make the chaos out of it. Right, they had the Deho blast going into main, off of a Paranoia, off of a Breach flash. Like, it was kind of unrelenting as those players were flooding in from heaven, and it really ended up working for them.
That goes there.
So everyone predicted FlyQuest up 5-1 in map 3, right? Just like this?
Yeah, I don't think so exactly. Yeah, no, chat was definitely favoring WADA.
Yep. You can hear the jump spot back there. That's a kill found. Starbound has, I mean, mind you, there haven't been a ton of opportunities with how bellicose FlyQuest have chosen to play this half, but Starbound has not had the same value outside of the first round that they had in map 2.
Yeah, it's been tough just to have a round with some money for Starbound, or a round where they're not being sort of flooded by utility, because FlyQuest and WADA both have just decided to go pure team fights. Here we go, though. Another one execing into the site. I mean, this Bucky is goofy. What? Astralis is dying to a fall damage? Ari is down like the troll under the bridge? Like, what is going on?
This is, yeah. Okay. PowerPixel has ult. Joona has ult. Opt for Starbound. Back on a buy.
Are these guys the bouncers? No one's allowed in there? What's going on here?
I wouldn't mess with them.
Yeah, I kind of want to know what's behind that door, but not enough to tango. All right, WADA, they finally spread out. They're gonna let Starbound work this A space. They saved up for an operator. The rest of the team is gonna pull some attention, but there's gonna be a fight here. Bob's already stepped into the space.
You gotta connect. There's nothing to take him off this line. And Bob gets punished for it. Big from Arya.
I mean, that B-side's open. And Astralis had already taken the timing into mid. That was a super aggressive push from the Sentinel. Gonna hear all 3 of those footsteps rotating back into CT, so WADA have a perfect position to play this out from.
For half a second, I thought that was PowerPixel ulting that line. Not the case. Sonder in a 1v4. Spam through the box. That's 4 for Arya. Just WADA finally cauterize the bleeding.
Yeah, you know, I don't love using that Teho ult there. I think a bit ambitious, thinking they could get back into sight, but FlyQuest should realize that deadlock wall is going up in heaven almost every single round, so unless they're breaking that and putting some pressure up into mid, into mail, into B heaven, like, there's no way you can get out of the CT choke point.
This time, the op line is going to be challenged. At least what has been the traditional op line, and they're starting to see some of that investment of utility around it, guessing as to where it might be if it's Starbound's back A.
Look at WADA just run, though. I think this is a lot better calling from them. They're just spotting out the early aggression, instantly dodging away from it. Now an Omen ult into sight. You realize there's no one actually on.
Yeah, but there's nothing. This is dangerous.
Oh, dear.
This has worked out quite well, though. Lace is the only one who's been able to punish. So Spike is going to get scooped back up, a wall towards heaven. Now, an advantageous situation for WADA.
Yeah, this wall's going to be up for the majority of the post plant. Going out. Hasn't chosen to break it, instead trying to maybe boost up over it. Has an angle. Oh no, the timing there. Just barely misses the chance for the kill onto Astralis, and now that's all Starbound needed to get the walk onto ramp to close out the round.
I do think, too, for as much as we talk about, you know, WADA, okay, that's now 2 rounds in a row. I think the way they're getting these rounds is arguably more important and more impactful than the fact that they're getting rounds to begin with. I think if Starbound can continue to find value off the attack side up, Arya gets back online and kind of forgets about the lackluster performance that they had on map 2. This could be full steam ahead for WADA.
Yeah, I think the big adjustment FlyQuest probably need to make is to stop showing so much utility at the start of rounds. WADA have just been avoiding that entirely after they got completely exploded. You know, it worked for FlyQuest, but now it's time to have some different looks. Go for some trap plays. Sonder did use the stun this round, but in 30 more seconds, they could set up for something off of that again. Even this round, I think, off of Sonder's contact in heaven, Bob has the ultimate to sort of rip out events and pick off mid players.
The drone is going to clear out mid.
Yeah. It's a much better round from FlyQuest. And the fact that in 10 seconds they're going to have breach done again means that now it's time to potentially start walking?
This is danger. Yep. That's Starbound too, and now the ult used. There's still plenty of time left in the round, so it's not fully thrown into disarray.
No, but it is, though, because now Bob realizes she can just walk fully into sewers and catch these players going into sight.
I was hoping that they would pivot, maybe, but you're absolutely right. Power Pixel has fallen. Unstable is the anchor that will not be moved on A.
Could they go B? I don't even think they realize it. Now they certainly can't.
No.
30 seconds
There was a window there, but I think you're right. I don't know that they realized it. A flawless round for FlyQuest as they get to 7.
So WADA struggle a little bit more with that slow round. You've got to shout out Unstable finding that kill. I don't know if they saw a shoulder with their camera and then peeked into that angle for the next jiggle or what exactly, but regardless, it was a nice shot.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
It sort of continues to be the Lace and Unstable show.
Yeah.
That was very evident back on Lotus. They've been having a very consistent couple of maps.
Arya satcheling forward, has the ult, but now post-sap is used towards A. Not able to use those in conjunction.
Wow. Cancels the ultimate, pulls out another one. It's a 1-for-1, but WADA were not committing off of that.
No.
This is a much better look for WADA because they use that fake pressure to now open up the mid lurks. We've seen Astralis get into heaven multiple times so far this map. Get one here and the B-side's yours.
There was one. Lace falls. Kara still staying back on site, and there's no way Kara gets away with more than that. I thought for a second there was an opportunity, but Starbound's up. Sings another tune of success. Sonder on the spam. Choosing to play this one very interestingly. The TP all the way across. Starbound holding line with op. Okay. Sure, that's the shot you hit? And so now Unstable's left in 1v2, but they're getting their ones! Starbound, left alone, 35 HP, hits the shot with the op, the 3K. And we're still the silly is still happening, Ender. It's still happening.
It just keeps going. I don't even understand. Like the fact that first Sonder is putting FlyQuest in a position to come back there. The fact that it's coming down to 1-2 bullets. I mean, even here, there was a moment where Kara very nearly caught the timing. That reposition was really smart. Just couldn't quite find the shot. Here, good patience out of Starbound. Isn't baited the first time.
You want to play? Let's play.
After what was they were up what 6-1
Yeah.
to potentially 7-5. All right. Ult was used, op for Starbound, which is interesting way to invest that.
Wow, why did I realize that mid is pretty open usually? FlyQuest just used a Paranoia into B main. Car and Bob have stepped into the space again.
Well, I think part of the reason for that is because they haven't really explored it either.
It's true. It's really just been the lurks from Astralis so far, but this time Arya rips that showstopper. Doesn't connect.
That was a good delay. I mean, the setup was there off the Paranoia, but not connecting. Meanwhile, Bob holding the line up in heaven. Oh! Bob gets 2 shots at it, doesn't connect on any of them. Meanwhile, Sonder crunching it up in heaven. The Rolling Thunder is going to send everything into chaos. Kara's timing is perfect. Meanwhile, Sandra again immovable, but Starbound, it's Unstable who cleans it up at the end. The timing was so good. In the face of all of that fight up heaven, it was Unstable who strikes at just the right moment.
A lot of really nice bait and switch out of FlyQuest in that round.
Yep.
Whether it was Bob pulling out of B main to shoot up into heaven, doesn't quite connect, but then Kara is still there to play off of the ultimate. That late pinch coming in from Unstable, while Sandra, the amount of time she stalled up there with an Odin is kind of silly.
Yep. 1000% agree. And so, honestly, given how strong of a first half FlyQuest had, for them to get to 8-4 feels fine. And now they're on the attack. They've got
but
Breach de Horays.
What was last map at again? Was it 10-5?
Oh, okay, big guy. Let's
It's
just
not
focus on the
over till
pistol,
it's
okay?
over. WADA have shown so much fight in the tank, and it's mainly off of this person.
Legend has it, Starbound has never missed. Ever.
Yeah. Starbound dropped
Another.
from FlyQuest a month ago, by the way, and is making sure they know that's the wrong decision.
I mean, with a performance like that, yeah, I'm sure that's in the back of your mind.
And that was the shocking move, right? Just a week
Yeah.
or two before open qualifiers. FlyQuest announcing the departure of Ev, Starbound, Thea.
Here.
Brand new team here. Looks strong so far, but with WADA and FlyQuest both being thrown together so quickly, especially in these long series, you're going to be challenged, and you're going to get challenged with the flank coming in like that. Sleepy
The
Aria
flank was
rotating back through
great.
spawn.
The flank was great, and then the flash from Joona just laces us to 1v3.
30 seconds left.
And she cannot. And so WADA will get to 5. You can't even count. Given how the series is gone, though, you normally look at this and go, okay, WADA does at 5. They win the pistol. FlyQuest is not going to invest. WADA should win, so we're probably looking at 8-6. I feel like all conventional wisdom has just kind of gone out the window here.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of forces. Don't think we'll see it this time because there wasn't a plant. But that said, WADA won the first pistol this map, lost round 2.
Right, and it wasn't
Different
off the
story.
force.
Yeah, different story, though. They were on the attack, and I think they've really struggled in slow rounds on attack. Their defense, though, when you have to walk into Starbound's crosshair, not so easy. Okay, utility, we're just barely out.
Not even close. No way. What? Sandra's just tucked under playing limbo against the wall.
We're not ready for that gap, are
Do they
we?
know? No, I don't think they know. But Ari is there with the judge to save the day. 3 for the Rays. Yeah.
Remaining.
Ari is now 2 off the bolt.
The chase is on. And the 4 HP. Ari's gonna call it quits. Because FlyQuest or WADA have control over the spike, there's a world here where they can just let Unstable live. I don't think they will, as you can see by Arya sprinting down through sewers, but
2 off ult, yeah. This is quite funny to watch.
it's like watching a hunter track their prey.
And we have 30 seconds of this left.
Yeah, okay, fun.
It's a really bad game of hide and seek.
Hide and seek, but you're screaming out Polo like it's Marco Polo the entire time. It's like, one game, guys!
It's not complicated.
Supposed to be hiding.
Oh, FlyQuest early timeout this time. I think wisely so, given how this series is gone. Hey, we got to very quickly talk about Arya, too. I just glanced down. 17-10.
Yeah, not too shabby.
No, and I don't know if you remember what Arya's score was at the end of regulation on Lotus. It wasn't great.
No, I think it was kind of like Bind. Arya was kind of nasty with it, right? And then on Lotus, pretty absent. Both of our raises weren't really heating up, especially early on in the map. But no, definitely good to see them coming up in a big way here already on Split.
What are the adjustments? What are the conversations on this timeout here?
I genuinely don't know. A round 3 timeout is kind of crazy. Like,
it can't be a game conversation at this point, right?
I see. So FlyQuest hadn't actually used a timeout in the first half, so I understand a little bit more. But I really don't like calling these early timeouts because you just got to talk to your team for a minute at halftime. Right? Coaches get to talk back during that time, and granted, a lot of the times, your IGL is going to be calling around, etc. But like, you do get to set up, those 2-3 ideas of what your ante is coming back in, remind the team of what you want your macro focus to be. So it's odd to me that already we're adjusting on our attacking side too.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering: is this more of just like a settling conversation than anything else? They've known Starbound has crossed this angle now. And so they can either choose to ignore Starbound or dump utility.
It's possible Coach Joe was just making sure Bob was buying heavy armor, honestly, after seeing
Or
an
that.
outlaw and Bob overspending a little bit in the last round. Sometimes little things like that can make all the difference.
I said this line earlier, and we use it a lot, and it's more in jest than anything else, but I do have serious concerns about this now. This idea of playing not to lose versus playing to win. And I think for FlyQuest, I think keeping confidence is paramount here.
It's true. This is kind of a gutsy call here, though. Trying to send in that fake with the drone at the same time the deadlock wall's breaking on B. They caught one rotation out of it, and they find the pick on B, so that should be an easy plant. Nice round for FlyQuest.
Very well done. Obviously, getting the kill was icing on the cake, but even the macro prior to that was very well set up.
Lace is even going to take a lurk timing into A. There's also a lurk coming in through mid. I mean, FlyQuest, we saw a little bit of this on Lotus. When they play these slow rounds, it can be a thing of beauty.
Yeah. They slowed this one down. The first flank, as you mentioned, but then the second one is going to be even worse. Now they have to draw attention back towards the flank. They can't turn their attention towards the site. And so Starbound's left in a 1v5 with the spike that's been planted for a little while now.
It's interesting watching these teams face off against each other because for so long, right, like Shopify just dominated the GC scene, both here in North America and internationally as well. And it was always like so strange playing against them because they had all the best players and they also had the best macro. Like, there wasn't an aspect of their game plan that you could just beat them at. But when I watch these two teams, they're very different because I really think FlyQuest is a much stronger hold over the macro of their game, right? Sure. You can see the difference of these two teams' attack, especially in the slow rounds FlyQuest play. But WADA are so much better at these like team fights next to each other. Starbound is consistently finding the opening picks. Like, it seems like WADA are the better shooters and the more like active individual players, and FlyQuest have to outplay them on the map in order to win a lot of these rounds.
There.
So far it has worked. I don't know that getting a lot of the space towards A heaven. I mean, you've got the trip. And so maybe I love, if this is what FlyQuest are trying to do, I love this attack round.
It's just about exploding the defense of the other team.
Yep.
When it's limited info on their sentinels, when all you have is a drone from Mateo to re-clear in the mid rounds, like, okay, FlyQuest have gotten exactly what they've come for, and they know they're sitting on top of that chamber trip in heaven. So if FlyQuest regroup into main, they know there's only a couple of angles the chamber's going to be fighting from. It's either, out on ramp on that god angle or back towards screen or elbow.
Arya just used... Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say, now that camera sees there's no one on ramps, they know that someone has to kind of be on this line. They're still dry swinging it.
Just playing on the inside of their TP here is Starbound. Managing to get away.
Easy as that. Again, good mac around from FlyQuest, but WADA find the opener, so it's always a numbers advantage for them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But they still managed to get the spike down. But now they're going to have to deal with the ferocious attempt at a retake from WADA with the numbers advantage. Note, again, Arya 1 off forward. Numbers even now, though. As Joona falls, no smokes to play around here. I mean, they're trying their damnedest, trying to widen out the way and keep the side open. The satchel forward from on Arya is ill-advised if Bob is there to greet. This back and forth doesn't add up. It's got to be Lace who's going to be hero. And Lace has been very good consistently all series. Another need to deliver here. The first was filthy, but Starbound's just too quick with it.
Starbound's just been on a warpath today, I swear. I haven't seen a chamber player have impact like this in a long time. Like, this is a crazy performance in so many of these rounds. I mean, you look at it, Starbound and Arya combined are 35 kills right now. They are carrying so much weight for their teams. But it's working.
It's crazy to me the value that Starbound finds with the op too. Like, you're talking tight angles, you're talking attack side op, you're talking defense op, you're talking retakes with the op, you're like literally all of it. Starbound makes it look like a rifle.
Cage triggered.
Starbound has been one of the elite players in NAGC for what, the last 3 years?
Yeah.
On different teams as well. EG, FlyQuest Red, now on WADA. I made it work, and there you go. Nothing Bob can do about that.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Sure.
Here.
The sheriff in the hands of Lace. 3 rifles otherwise for FlyQuest. Joona's in a decent spot here. No flash though. 1 smoke. Oh.
Starbound's already here then, though.
Yep. Launched out of the corner, and Joona still gets one. Now the reposition.
I know it.
And Saunders staying alive. I thought for a second Saunders was cooked, unstable, too concerned with the trip. Gets cleared by the shotgun. Saunders, who's been alive way longer than I think anyone expected, finally succumbs to the aggression and the firepower from WADA. Once again, the lead is gone for FlyQuest.
Obviously not a perfect buy coming in for FlyQuest, but you can see some of the adjustments FlyQuest or WADA are making. Changing the chamber trip, putting bodies in mid, even if it is just a shotgun hiding in vents. Just getting a little bit out in front of that last split round that FlyQuest had over into the A side. Again, a round where FlyQuest are leaving the spike towards their spawn. This time over in market, waiting to see if Starbound's going to take a forward line into them. But one of the hard things about playing split against a chamber compared to Lotus, where Starbound is always running into you and shooting you, is the off angles are really nasty on this map. The different elevations you can play on too.
A pretty standard angle here from Starbound, but you're absolutely right. How much more do they invest into this?
They're just trying to pull attention of ramp players so Unstable can creep up here.
Interesting. Clearing the sensor. Again, I think this is kind of, this round also really nicely summarizes what you were talking about earlier. And FlyQuest are playing the map very well. They're doing the right things. They're doing the little things well.
And they're always trading off, you know, who's going to be showing what does that mean on the map. Oh no, no one's looking down at Power Pixel down in hell. Yeah, they're going to get 3. While Starbound baits some attention backside.
I was scared because I saw them on Power Pixel's screen, and then Power Pixel looked away. And then snapped back, and somehow might get an ace after that.
It's all because Starbound took that fight backside. All of a sudden, all of FlyQuest's eyes, they're like, oh, we gotta kill this player.
Right.
They're just too good.
Starbound,
10 seconds left.
Lace, kill or death. We'll have the ult into the next round. So we're tied at 9, but the ult will be online, and they should be able to buy back.
The ults are just massive in this round in general.
Yep.
This is, you know, I talked a little bit about it on Bind when you have these decisive rounds where one team is going to be bankrupted when multiple ults are coming into play. This is one where FlyQuest want to stay alive. They kind of need to win this.
There's way too much opportunity here for this one to be fumbled. I agree. This would hurt. Laid in the map.
Problem is, Doug, Starbound's here and waiting. Ari is up in heaven with a judge and a showstopper. I mean, why did I have all the pieces here necessary to break apart this exit?
They're fully sending onto this.
But no TP out. The suppression.
Oh, it's just so high! Only one foul though, but it's traded back. Starbound's gone. The attack has the advantage, but Power Pixel has the ult. Maybe a little early, maybe a little advised because Bob's aggressive on the line. One kill found, tucking back, and double dipping onto the second, but Joona will not allow that to happen. Two members from the attack concerned with the flank, and Saunders' position is beautiful. Charles is going to have to do it on their own. A 1v2. And it's not, I mean, the plant, whoa, that's a very aggressive investment there. To use that ult, securing the round. Astral is not really in a position to play it out. That's a silly
Not when we
way to
walk
die.
into that thing.
Yeah, it's a very silly way to die. FlyQuest will take the lead back, and they threw everything they had behind that punch.
Yeah, I mean, that ultimate at the end from Lace feels like maybe a bit too much, but at the same time, FlyQuest have been struggling for rounds.
Yeah.
I mean, this play initially, I think the most important piece of this exec is the fact that Starbound wasn't able to break the Tejo drone. So when that pops, they're suppressed. They can't TP out of sight. There's this Bleach ult coming in at them. There's a Raze double satcheling at them. That was the difference, because if the TP was online, WADA can still play this round through.
Right. A little bit of toe spotted.
Cage triggered.
Playing the middle of the map really well.
Unstable's cleared out here and doesn't have a cage to actually escape. Unstable's in a lot of trouble.
Yep. And they're swinging into a horn. Yep.
Wow, that's a great re-clear from WADA. FlyQuest have to speed up into B side. They know it's weak right now, and they have to seize this opportunity.
Joona's here alone. TP's out, and it TP's into their spawn.
Enemy spawn? What?
Oh, I love this decision.
No Cypher means no flank watch either. Joona's gonna be here quick.
You've got to be careful, though. You've got to play your cards right here if you're Joona, because this could secure you the round if you play it right. Now, position given away. Lay's taking a good bit of damage, and FlyQuest decide they want to scale into a spawn of their own. Paranoia not going to connect. You see the flood posted up in heaven. As the dam comes down, they try to push their way out. First ult used, Bob down in hell, but obliterated right off the bat. What a gorgeous retake from WADA. They're tied at 10.
Arya is having a game right now. I mean, double shotgun kills coming in with the chaos of the deadlock ult coming over the top as well, catching out Sandra on the back. That's the flashes from FlyQuest just seized away. That shotgun in the hands of Arya has just been completely unstoppable so far.
I don't get how, I swear there's like a buff. The shotguns.
Look at that.
I mean, yeah, that one was pretty up close and personal, but yeah, it's just unreal.
But still, the movement that Arya gets there, and fully level with the ground too, they're so quick.
Mm-hmm. Broken by for FlyQuest.
There.
And around it, we put WADA in the advantage. First time since they won the pistol, dog.
Better late than never.
So it'll be a 1-3-1 from FlyQuest, challenging the middle of the map. This time, that drone going into ramp right now. Unstable isn't taking the early timing across. Has only pre-fired off the one cage to get the cross. Has another one in hand in case that re-clear came in again. That was the problem last round. Is actually going to call in some reinforcements. FlyQuest are anticipating that after the finds nothing, that it's just a chamber here. Unfortunately, just a chamber means that you can't do anything, because just a chamber is enough to kill you every single time.
Right, yeah, just the chamber is all the chamber you need.
Yeah, that's like 2 of a normal agent, you know?
Right.
Well, I hate to be a doomer, but
No,
this
yeah, go
round
ahead.
is a bit
It's
doomed.
cooked. Yeah, it's cooked. I think Lace somehow has to find value with this Guardian.
Good
But they're
stun.
smoked. I mean, they're smoked off. They're stunned off. They can't really find any way out. Lace did find value with the Guardian. Just one, though. Saunders picked it back up and immediately puts it back down. Okay. Yeah. Crispy shots out from Bob. Well, why did I take the lead? And you're right. It's for the first time in forever since the pistol.
Look out for each other.
FlyQuest now dipping into their second timeout. Last time they called it was a win. It was also the anti-bonus. But clearly A-lurks aren't working, which by extension means that mid-lurks don't really work either, because you kind of need, like, to pull some attention, you know, away from the extremities, or so that those players can go in, or you need the extremities to make some noise so your mid players can get some work done. So do you then dip into just exec looks? Is that an option? I mean, the Chambers played A every single round. Can you just run a B exec? Does that just work?
It's possible. I think I think part of the issue is they are trying to find out where Starbound is. That little jump peek that Lace has been doing, is to identify whether or not Starbound is there. So they're doing that part well. We saw the one exec on A where they used the drone to flush out Starbound, and then they were able to hit A. That worked well. I do feel like a lot of it is you've done your due diligence mid. Sometimes you do your due diligence A. It just requires a little bit more.
Yeah, A seems impossible to me. And I'm overreacting a bit. Like, we have seen Chamber over on B side previously, so it's not like it's just instantly known that Starbound is A, but I think at this point you kind of have to be anticipating that a bit. And maybe FlyQuest could, like, fight more aggressively for mid-space, try and blow up the rounds quicker instead of, you know, waiting to see if a Cypher can activate into A. Because right now it just doesn't look that good.
No. Hear that, Cam.
Ooh, I like, though, that it's a Teo and Raze. Obviously, I don't think the cam is there, right? So it didn't see those players, but they're trying to show the fighting pieces over towards A to make it feel like, well, Chamber could actually be on the B side of the solo. Not going to stop Kara from taking the aggro fight into B main. But I think that early baiting, what it's done is it's made FlyQuest think the Chamber isn't on this side of the map, when in reality, it absolutely is.
Color me shocked. We're going to have Starbound in a position to take over the round again.
I mean, we've seen this line played like 4 times at this point. That's a good stun, but Starbound can still just reposition easily. Still in range of the TP.
Flash, naded, stunned, has to give the lineup. Meanwhile, the double satchel up into heaven. Oh, and Arya's trading back with the ult.
Spike down A.
Cage trigger.
WADA again with the advantage. Starbound's still up.
It's not going to be a great plant for Heaven. And there's still a trip on vents. So even though Kara's coming in here, she can't move until this chamber is dealt with.
No, you can even smoke it off. They push into it, clear it out. Unstable taking a step back. Talk about filling the walls. Starbound does it once more. Joona trying to fight for dear life.
10 seconds.
You gotta get the spike down.
Left.
You got a plan.
Do it here really soon, but Power Pixel doesn't offer them an inch. WADA on series point.
This team is just unstoppable. There's nothing you can do. It doesn't matter. Starbound has every single piece of utility thrown at them. So then who enters the fray? Arya in Heaven, Judge kill, Showstopper kill. They're flooding out into sight, dealing with their flanks. They're just locked in right now. It doesn't feel like anything can stop them.
No. And again, if in case this ends here, we gotta call out Arya's and Starbound's performance. 28 out of Arya, 22 out of Starbound. Herculean efforts from those two.
Starbound once again getting into their favorite spot, back elbow. Once again, the utility trying to clear them out. This time, though, dodging the drone.
Yeah, dodging that. Wait, they stayed.
Hold on.
Arya stayed, or excuse me, Starbound stayed.
They found my trap.
And they don't know. Starbound's gonna get one. Cannot TP away though, and doesn't want to. Digs their heels in.
They're still here, Doug.
Trying to strike heartbreak into the. Yes, it's a disaster. This is where it ends unless Bob can do a 1v2. 8 bullets left. Spike out of reach. And now the net. It's icing on the cake. Insult added onto injury. WADA are your Verizon Game Changers champions.
And what a fashion to do it in as well. I mean, Starbound coming back here and taking down FlyQuest Red in the kickoff tournament, doing it in just a beautiful fashion as well. The chamber play is just magnificent. You couldn't ask for anything better for this WADA squad to start it off.
No, absolutely not. And it isn't even like yes, revenge is sweet, and this, that, and the other, and it is. And Starbound played exceptionally well, but Starbound played exceptionally well on all 3 maps. Like it wasn't just like one map that was a heater, and that's what put them away. Ender, that was unreal.
It was unbelievable. Like Chamber one tricking and just dominating every single map they play is so impressive. You've got to offer up massive props, and especially like coming back in that insane map 2 of Lotus, right? That went 19-17 at a certain point, and Starbound is just putting in work again. Every single first kill they're getting, and then they're still alive in the clutch situation at the end too.
Yeah,
and winning those more often than not. You've just got to respect the gamesmanship out of a player like that.
Yeah, you talked about the massive comeback on map 2. There was a massive comeback on map 3. And this one, I think, will sting FlyQuest for a little while. WADA are your Verizon Game Changers Kickoff champions. We're going to throw it to a break. The desk will do their yapping and all their good stuff. Listen to Lemon Kiwi. Listen to Sierra. They're both incredibly intelligent. We'll be right back.
And there's Vans, too.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you. Gamers, hybrid workers, artists. Backing your every move.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Don't forget why. Don't forget why. Não tenta bater de frente. Sabe que lá tá fazendo macete. Desce até o chão. Ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Fazendo macete. Ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Don't forget why. Don't forget why. Não tenta bater de frente. Sabe que lá tá fazendo macete. Desce até o chão. Ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Fazendo macete. Ela tá doida pra colar com a gente.
In just 3 maps, WADA is going to be your Verizon VCT Game Changers Kickoff champions. Congratulations. And in a stunning fashion too, Vance, because that's 2 maps back to back where WADA is down, but they're never out.
Yeah, and you thought it was a revenge match when we saw in the first place, a 2-1 when they upset at FlyQuest in the upper brackets. Now you thought it was going to be a fluke, but now in a 3-0 fashion, that's actually a huge statement coming out there for WADA to win that in a clean sweep. And to be honest, I'm actually happy that they went into a 3-map series because I don't think I could have stand Esports Douglas casting another 2 maps after that.
Douglas.
So, yeah.
Bringing out the full name?
The government name drop?
I just doxed him. Esports Douglas at thecaster.com or whatever the address is.
Caster, the unbranded one. I agree with the sweep statement, at least. That I was so surprised. I thought this was going to go the distance because
Agreed.
2 of the 3 maps, WADA was at a deficit at the half. And we were all telling ourselves there's just simply no way FlyQuest give up this lead, right? And how many times did we say, oh no, they're giving up this lead? It's so insane. But defense, the defensive side is where WADA really, really shine. If they can be stable under no pressure and watch a sight line, mechanically, they're going to shine. And mechanically, a lot of heavy lifting from those veterans of PowerPixel and Starbound.
That's the thing. You're looking at the composition where they're always playing double sentinel for most of the maps, if not all of the maps, right? So it's natural that looking on paper for this composition, it should have very strong defender sides. And they have had it, at least on that end here, for this roster of WADA. So it looked really good. If it was going to be one of those moments where they kind of like fumble these maps and weren't able to hold their angles, or Starbound cannot really land the shots, what's the answer after that? And thankfully, at least in this series, we didn't have to witness that or try to figure that out.
Holy first kills out of WADA, but especially out of Sleepy Aria. 8 of those first kills coming out of them having an explosive race performance of almost dropping a 30 bomb. And I felt like them and Bob really went toe-to-toe on Rays on a few of these different maps to just Aria really taking over the lobby.
100%. But if we're talking about just standout player performances across the board, you have to just give that mention and shout out to Starbound there, because what they're able to do throughout this series was just incredible. And I feel like too, despite so much coming out from Starbound and Starbound just having like a heck of a performance, we really did get to see just individual pop-off performances from everyone, Vance, to where, yeah, we've sung a lot of phrases, but this was just really a nice coordinated team effort.
Yeah, if we want to talk about other players before we actually get into Starbound, I think one of them is their ex-teammate being PowerPixel back in the GC days, because PowerPixel under the kit of the Tejo was doing such a good job with like great timings on the stalls with the concusses and then also the salvos and the Armageddons to create that space for the team. It was really good, the support that they were able to bring, but it's again Starbound with the amount of first bloods that they were hitting.
Yeah, the first blood's on the last map, and then like this time, you know, Arya's got it. Sleepy Arya no longer. This is truly woken up going crazy Arya, and you know, someone else can get the first kills for once. But yeah, the last series, I mean, I'm still just blown away, Jen, by the 11 first bloods coming out from Starbound on Lotus, and just some of these op kills. Like, I definitely think if Starbound just wasn't having such a series today, this would be a conversation gearing up, talking about a map 4.
And just look at the amount of kills. Like, the numbers speak for themselves, but the fact that this is all on Chamber, is there gonna be a team that can really download how to punish this defensive positioning, these early peaks from Starbound? Because you live and die by the Starbound, and you're thriving, especially in this series. Because I was surprised WADA even got to the final, just like looking at the resumes, right? Because there are stacked rosters in this kickoff tournament, and WADA have a lot of new players in terms of like they maybe haven't played in a Game Changers main event, or they play more of like the soccer cups and like the community stuff. But to be at this level of GC and to perform this well says so much. And for Starbound to do it against their former team, that's an even bigger of a statement. And this is just the beginning of the season where I really hope that this tells WADA to stay as a roster and to develop this more. Or, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Stick to this comp around the Chamber and build around Starbound. But what else is there in store? I'm excited.
If anything like that, I think it's the format that you were mentioning here, Lemon Kiwi, for them to stick together and hopefully get picked up moving forward, because I heard that Envy, was able to come back into esports. So if they're looking for a GC team to represent them, I think this would be a great pickup for the future matches, because I don't feel that watching how this team has been playing has been on a fluke run, to be honest, or a miracle run or a Cinderella run so far for WADA. They came out with so much confidence, and also the way that they actually leverage Arya on this Raze, moments where they're going to utilize an Odin, or moments where they need to be a little bit more serious and Vandal and work with the team. It'll be perfect. If not, just the judges and the shotguns and the buckies too, like all around what you can do around the weapons around the satchels of this agent. Arya is doing it perfectly. There you go. That's the word I was looking for.
And the advantage really helps of being able to ban out all these comfort picks from FlyQuest to then ending things on their map pick of Split. And is this going to be a one-dimensional team being able to pick maps around this chamber, or what else can we have in store? They've really settled on one composition, not having Joona on the Clove, going more towards the Omen and around the Tejo. Like, this is a team that they're able to kind of repeat this playbook on many of the maps. And yeah, there's fumbles, but this is a team that is just beginning this year. Like, imagine once they incorporate more coaches or more time, just with more practice, this is going to be a team that can really threaten maybe a championship one day.
I mean, worries about, agent selections, anything else. If it was someone that we hadn't maybe seen, then I would definitely be sharing a lot more of those worries. But considering that we've seen Starbound on a variety of the different Sentinel picks, and there has been teams that kind of came into Kickoff like, yeah, we're just going to bug it out a little bit. It's going to be a little bit more and chill and relax. I definitely think that if this team has intentions of trying to get signed and try and hey, let's make plans, let's have different playbooks, that Starbound could just play anything and just be absolutely crazy, I fully believe in that. The chamber is awesome, especially with all this opping, but I have absolutely no doubt here, Vans, that Starbound and this rest of the team, if they do decide to compete again, that will only just see elevated gameplay.
Yeah, you're starting this Kickoff, as we mentioned at the top of the show, an opportunity for new rosters to be able to test out if the roster works out in the first place. So what we were able to witness and taste out of WADA is that, yes, they're able to have good coordination as a team, and also it doesn't matter what maps you played, you just wanted to perfect at least that one comp. And now that you know that you have that synergy, you can play on the comebacks. Even if you're losing situations that you get first and second blood, and you still lose a 5 versus 3, you could still win a series and sweep. So that gives a lot of confidence for a team in itself to know that they have the resiliency to fight through any type of big obstacles that might come into their way. The next step now is, once we get into probably Split 1 or something like that, and you have the Shopify Rebellion Gold team that's going to join in, most likely, then it's how can you now leverage maybe your comp to work versus such a prestigious team, or how can you elevate into new comps that could also do a lot of heavy damage.
And I know this was a disappointing end for FlyQuest. I still want to applaud their resilience to just push WADA to the very edge, to go into this rematch and have to really reinvent a lot of things that fell through for them. But I hope they stick with this roster, and who knows what the IRL situation is with all the players, because they did kind of piece this together. A lot of the FlyQuest comps got changed on the fly, and this is a team that have had to really throw in ideas on the fly and do these timeouts and make these quick adjustments. But unfortunately, they can't close it out. They've had a lot of tremendous leads that have been lost, and that's got to be affecting the mental. The casters talked about that at length. So I hope that FlyQuest can really work on just how, once these best of fives get really long and these games get really long, how they can really lock down and make sure they finish out cleanly.
I mean, that's where FlyQuest Red is in luck, because this is only just the beginning of game changers for this calendar year. This is just Kickoff. This is the opportunity to test out the roster, make sure, you get the rust off your shoulders, everything else, and you're good to go. There's still going to be Open Qualifier Stage 1 up ahead. So Sonder was talking about how, this team was kind of formulated and, just they hadn't necessarily had too much time together, but that's going to be something that's fixed when you're looking at the rest of the circuit going on for the year. And that'll be then interesting to see how they adapt. But then also when we are seeing these other teams coming on in, when we do see that Shopify Rebellion Gold, everyone else that has a little bit more of this coordinated play style, all this practice, all of these teams, Vans, which is how everyone is going to be stacking up, because the competition's only going to get elevated.
Exactly, and we've seen that story already get written from the side of FlyQuest in the past, right? Where they never really had like a very strong start at the beginning of the year, but then slowly but surely creeping up into the top 4, creeping up into the top 2, always then being toppled by SRG when they're always in the grand finals, and then finally winning an event for a GC3, if I'm not mistaken, for last year. So this could still be the similar story as we're seeing for this brand new roster in 2025.
Right. Well, it is time for our Verizon post-match interview with Joona Canada on the line. Hello. Congratulations. Game Changers Kickoff champion. How you feeling?
Honestly, just really happy. I don't know. Our team came into it just ready to play and no other expectations. And I don't know. I think we're all just really happy with how it went.
For no expectations, being able to win in the fashion that you all did is incredible. And I want to talk then about how the team gets together for the event, because the other members have kind of played together before, but for yourself, I want to know how you got on this roster.
Yeah, I'm friends with Power, and when the roster came together, it was super last minute, and I kind of just put out there like, hey, if you guys really need an emergency fifth, I can do it. I can flex, I can fill whatever role you need. And yeah, them having played together so many times before made it really easy to come into the team, and everyone is so communicative and they're just easy to be around, and it made it really easy to play together. Yeah.
I mean, for an emergency fifth, you damn well performed, so congratulations on that. And the fact then that you're coming into this roster, they've played together before. I want to know kind of the style that WADA went into this tournament with, because some teams were a little bit more puggy, some had these more set plays. Since they've played together before, was things more coordinated, or is it more puggy, we're just here to have fun?
I think both. At the start, we kind of just showed up to our matches and played. As we got into main event and started playing teams like FlyQuest, YFP, and all the other teams in top 8, we started taking it a little bit more seriously and, watching VODs coming up with set strats. But we did have a few set strats, a few protocols, but at the end of the day, we really just relied on how we felt during the game about the other team. And Power was mostly IGLing for us, and they did just a fantastic job. So, yeah.
I mean, a clean sweep here in the grand finals. Huge congratulations to that. And I want to talk about this finals, specifically the map 2 and 3, because WADA was down 5-10 on Lotus, 4-8 on Split, able to turn it around both times. So I want to know kind of the vibes and how you're able to just get this resounding wins after that.
Yeah, one thing I really appreciate about our team is that everyone is so passionate, but we didn't really get tilted, especially for map 2 on that deficit, and especially those little mistakes, especially in the second half that brought us down to, I think, a 5-10. Every round we still felt as if, hey, this round got really close. We did the right things. There were just some things, some small mistakes that we messed up on that if we tighten up, this game will go our way. And I think that kind of confidence kept us going. And yeah, I think that's what pushed us through.
I mean, then what's next for this roster? Is this something that was more so a one and done here for Kickoff, or is this something that you're looking ahead now at stage 1 the rest of the year? Okay, we want to compete. Let's get serious about this.
I don't, we honestly haven't talked about it, and we also don't really have plans to. I know Starbound and Astralis are competing still. For Arya, it was their first time playing GC, so I really hope I continue to see them. I don't know what Power's plans are, and for me, I work full time, so it's difficult for me to continue. But if there was any possibility in the world that I could continue playing with this roster for the rest of the year, I would absolutely take it. But yeah, not something we've really discussed.
I'm definitely fingers crossed over here, because this was a great performance. And you're talking about Arya not really being able to compete before. We've seen you more so in Game Changers Academy, Sakura Cup, stuff like that. How is this being able to compete for you and then winning this caliber of tournament too?
That was really exciting. I've always wanted to compete, just never really had the time. So to be able to have this opportunity was amazing. Yeah, I hope I get to in the future, but
well, I definitely hope so. Congratulations, Joona, again on this win. Congratulations to the team. Be sure to celebrate. Have some good time. You guys deserve it, all right? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Back over to the desk. I'm so serious. Like, fingers crossed, toes crossed. I really hope that we get to see WADA in this current iteration be able to play more. Because Jen, like, for a team that, all right, like, we're just coming into here, we really don't have that much expectations to then have this type of performance. Come on, we just need to see a bit more.
That's what was key for me, because they have players that have like won a lot of great things or have really been at the highest level, like Starbound, like PowerPixel, and for them to come into this with this roster that got put together and have no expectations and not even get tilted when things went really wrong, when silly mistakes happen, it gives me paints a picture that this is going to be a team that can improve. Because if you can be constructive, if you can stay positive, this is going to be a team that can beat these teams like FlyQuest, like they did against YFP, and maybe they could have a chance to threaten like a Shopify rebellion in this era, or maybe they'll make more changes. I don't know. But FlyQuest, I hope that they don't beat themselves up, because this was not their peak performance, and we don't really know what that how the series would have looked different if every single one of the players would have peaked. So keep an eye on what FlyQuest journey is going to be like, because they're, again, a world championship caliber team, and this is, I think, one of the best iterations of FlyQuest. You just need them to consistently show up on every day.
I mean, if you're talking about, hey, if this went differently, I mean, Vans had that list of rounds for WADA. That was something even
the receipts, I get it.
So there is just so much room to be growing here, Vans, and being able to see just a small snapshot of that throughout the tournament to then be able to get that 3-0 in the grand finals. Man, Game Changer's going to be great this year.
That's it. I'm holding receipts, and they're not tilted at all. So it shows how cool and how the vibes were for when they were competing in this tournament overall for WADA. And I was actually even watching or reading out all the tweets from PowerPixel, from Starbound. Hey, thanks for everybody for joining us in like a last minute 24-hour way to pug it out here in the GC kickoff, and they were able to win it all. So imagine if there was actually even a lot of practice going into this one and what they could bring here. And again, I'm just like you, Sierra. Hopefully, my fingers crossed that there's an opportunity here that somebody like Joona could maybe leave her full-time job and then focus on GCC to play a full year with this roster. It'll be a nice little story and a little break from the 9 to 5 to be able to travel and play and compete here for the GCC finals, if it goes to that part, if they're able to make it to that part.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where the dreams can start, and this is only the beginning. There's going to be so much more game changers throughout the year. This is just kickoff. The open qualifiers are going to be starting March 4th here, Jen. So for anyone who's inspiring, wants to come out and compete, that's going to be super, super exciting. And that's going to be then, I anticipate the return of a couple of these players that we've gotten to see throughout these years. Of course, we'll see Shopify, Gold be competing later on in the qual. Like, there's going to be a lot of great stuff ahead.
Yeah, and I hope we see a lot of new faces. So if you're anybody in the chat, like, inspired by what all these wonderful people and women have done, like, please sign up, because this is the platform to get your competitive start going. And that's what Joona exactly said. Now that she has the time, look where she is now on a stacked roster. And this is also, there's a couple weeks between now and OQ1, so we could see a roster mania in the GC scene. Hopefully some orgs take notice and sign people like WADA, because they deserve it. And I hope that, we already hinted about Envy. So Envy, if you're watching, Hastra, you say it 3 times in the mirror and he'll appear and sign your team. So I hope that happens for WADA, because they deserve that opportunity.
It's that simple. I want to be a content creator. Hastra. No.
Y'all can't leak the cheat codes out here, all right, guys? But this is all, of course, of gearing up to that Game Changer Championships out in November, and there's going to be a lot of great actions as teams try to get qualified for that. But as for kickoff, that is it for us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Jen, Vans for absolutely crushing it, the casters as well, and production. Thank you all for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.